anybody's journey, and I don't care what journey you're on. Maybe you're on a journey to be a man. Maybe you're on a journey to be a dad. Maybe you're on a journey for entrepreneurship, or to be a professional athlete, or to be a singer, or to be an artist, whatever it is. In the beginning, you're going to get some amazing little wins, and then all of this is going to happen. And it has happened to me multiple times. I'm in the middle of it right now. And I think about or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. Greg Vetter Podcast. Got Gail with me. Mo's in a full cowboy outfit, so maybe he'll bless us with his presence. So I get asked a lot about what do I do in my most stressful times? What do I do with perspective or for perspective when things get really bad? And one of my favorite things to do is read this one poem, If by Kipling. And so I'm going to read it and then I'm going to talk about it. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. I found that one day searching for answers, and Michael Caine, the British actor, read it, and he actually changed it in the video. And instead, he, at the end, said, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run. But I watched that over and over again because it defines perfectly what life is about. There is no more perfect poem ever written. And you could make the argument that Teddy Roosevelt's speech, where he talks about the man in the arena, that's probably a close second. But nothing summarizes how hard it gets with life than this poem. And at the end, which I love, if you do all those things, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. And so it's not about any of the things listed, because you hear all of that and it sounds like a journey of an entrepreneur or a journey of a successful athlete or a business mogul. But no, that is what it takes to be a man in life. And so anytime I am dealing with triumph or disaster, I'll read this mostly when it's disaster, and I'll give myself some perspective on what it takes to be a man in this life. But that is my favorite poem of all time, without a doubt. And I read it all the time because it's so grounding. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. I mean, I love that. So if it's magnificent, and I think the key to anybody's journey, and I don't care what journey you're on. Maybe you're on a journey to be a man. Maybe you're on a journey to be a dad. Maybe you're on a journey for entrepreneurship, or to be a professional athlete, or to be a singer, or to be an artist, whatever it is. In the beginning, you're going to get some amazing little wins, and then all of this is going to happen. And it has happened to me multiple times. I'm in the middle of it right now. And I think about or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. And it's that concept of the key to life is to fall down 7 times, but to get up 8. But I mean, think about how many people after the 3rd knockdown, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, at some point you're just like, what's the point of getting up again? If you have kids, it's a little bit easier because they're looking to you for leadership and to be a pillar of their life and to help guide them. Do you practice what you preach? So that's easier for sure, because the most grounding thing you can do is like go on a walk with your kids, see how their day is. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they care how your day was. Are you driving them to practice? Are you going to sit with them and not be on your phone? Are you going to have family dinner? Are you going to listen to them about their day? And, you know, the tea. Mm-hmm. You want to hear the tea today, Dad? Hell yeah, I do. What's up? You don't want to hear my tea. So, I'm going to switch this back to you.
So you said that this is one of your favorite poems of all time. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a big statement because you're a big fan of literature, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So when did you actually find this poem? Was it a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was during the end of Tessie Mae's.
Okay.
I was down a kind of very deep YouTube hole of Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, like his interviews and lectures, trying to understand suffering, trying to understand the meaning in suffering, trying to understand the purification process of, as St. John of the Cross says, the dark night of the soul. Mm-hmm. So getting very deep in all of those kind of deep philosophical interpretations of why adversity happens in our lives and what we can do for it. And so, you know, this poem popped up. Michael Caine read it. I literally started crying.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Michael Caine, who wrote the poem?
No, he didn't write it. Kipling wrote the poem. Michael Caine just wrote it because he has a beautiful British accent.
Okay. Well, do you know anything about the author?
Yeah. I did a bunch of research on him. He also wrote the Jungle Book.
Ah.
Yeah. So Rudyard Kipling wrote the Jungle Book, which for all of us in our 40s, when the Disney version came out, super lit.
Yep.
I think every kid tried to probably swing from some vines in their forest. I know I did. The vine did not hold. I fell. We then built a giant rope swing into a ravine. And that was most of the danger I had on a daily basis. We took the rope swing down after my youngest brother, Matt, fell off of it into a ravine, broke his leg at his birthday party. It was the most dangerous rope swing you could ever, like, I look back on it now, it's absolutely the dumbest thing we could ever do in the history of the world.
But it was fun.
It was fun. It was wonderful. It was inspired by the Jungle Book. I wanted to be able to do that. But yeah, interesting guy, but it's really just like, that poem is perfection, in my opinion.
I mean, it shows the importance of it if you used to read that back in the day and it still holds.
Yeah, it withstands the test of time, and it's interesting because I tried to do a bunch. I had kind of a protocol of dealing with obstacles and adversity and books that I read that were super helpful a couple years ago. And I tried reading them again a couple months ago, and I had to put them down. They were just kind of worthless now, which I was shocked about because they were so impactful the first time I read them. And as I read them a second time, and I'm not going to name any titles because some of the authors are still alive, I realized that a lot of these authors, I don't know if they've actually ever faced adversity. I think they have studied it like a student. They've read about it. They've read about climbing a mountain. They've read about the tools they need. They've read about the shoes they need to wear. They read about how the altitude changes. But they've never done it. They don't know what happens. And when I went back and I was reading some of these books and I was kind of listening and reading the examples that were being presented, I'm like, this isn't shit.
All right, so I pulled out some lines from the poems and have some questions, and we can go through all of them.
Yep.
The first one, the line is, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Greg, you've led teams through chaos, lawsuits, and near collapse. How did you actually learn to keep your head when everything around you was falling apart? And what does that look like in real time, not in theory?
It's a preparation process every day. It's this, I think Jocko had a great book about this, extreme ownership. When you sign up to be a leader of a team or a company, it's you. Whether or not it's you, it's you. And so if you can fully accept that people are blaming you, even though you're trying to fix it all, it's a preparation process to remind yourself what your job is, what your role is, who's counting on you, what are the obstacles that you're facing, why are you willing to persevere, what are you fighting for? And if you can keep your eye on that prize, whatever the prize is, I don't care what it is. It's to pay your mortgage. It's to sell. It's to get drafted in the NFL. I don't care. You don't look at the obstacles. You look at, this is something in my way. I must solve it. I'm not going to stop until I solve it. And I'm going to go. And I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm not going to worry about anyone's opinion. I just know that I am going to do what is right for the organization because I am the leader of it. So you also have to remove almost your safety from it. You can't make decisions purely based on what is going to benefit you. It has to be this selfless, unwavering commitment to solve the problem for the team. And then if it doesn't happen, you know you're getting the blame. That's fine. That's acceptable. But the key here is like when it works, you really can't take any of the credit. Who helped you get it done? What's our purpose? Like, there's no need to have a pat on the back. That doesn't help anybody. Just move on. Like, we got through a crisis, great. High fives, move on. I don't need to go out for happy hour. I don't need a plaque. I don't need an Employee of the Month certificate. And I don't think you should expect that. Because I think if you're doing things for an expectation from someone else, for a response, you're going to be let down. And that's your ego talking. That's not why you need to do these things. You need to do these things because this is your job and you signed up to solve problems and do what's right. So.
Awesome. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting. In Undressed, you talk about how long seasons of grinding without guarantees. How did you know when you were being patient versus when you were just stalling out of fear?
Well, I don't stall out of fear. I don't know if I do that. I think my problem is more being high activation. I'm probably too high activation. So I do need to make sure that I'm running at the correct pace. So I'm not stalling ever out of fear. What I'm always looking for or adjusting for is, do I need to conserve energy in this moment because I'm going to need to sprint in about an hour. So there's never a stall out of fear. There's always pace management. And then the other side of it, and not getting tired by waiting. We actually talked about endurance this morning in the Friday men's group. And this whole concept of being able to endure. And the ancient definition of passion, you know, this whole concept of as it was originally intended in the Bible, the passion of Christ is not the definition of passion as we know it today. It was this endurance for true belief of something. That was passion. And so the ability to endure forever is an interesting topic that I tried to figure out a couple of years ago. And I think I got something that's sustainable, which was, you only have today. Create the perfect day. Control what you can control. But only focus on getting through today. Because I think people quit when they think about how long the journey is going to be tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And the next day. And the next day. But if you can take this concept from the Lord's Prayer of, give us this day our daily bread, and only focus on that, Like today, what can I solve for today? What can I control today? How much energy and focus can I exert today to get one step closer on a journey that I don't know when it's going to end, but I know I need to move forward? That's what life is. Everyone's always like, entrepreneurship's a marathon. No, it's not. A marathon is a set time. There are race-sponsored aid stations along the way. You know where they are. This is that race where it's the last man standing. You bring your own supplies. You rest how you want to rest. And your only objective is to be the last man standing. That's it. How do you prepare for a race that has no end? You better be locked in mentally to deal with the demons that are going to come up. That saying, fatigue makes a coward of us all. So true. You get so tired. You get so frustrated. You're at the end of your rope. And all you can do is tie a knot and hang on. And you don't know for how long. And you have to just take it in these little baby steps of 5 more minutes. Or sing the ABCs. Or count down from 20. And then count down from 20 again. And count down from 20 again. And if you do that long enough, you're most likely going to be the last man standing. Or you're going to know where your limit is. And then you can address it accordingly and hopefully improve it. But I think the key to life really is endurance.
And how do you not burn out being the last man standing if you're on that journey?
Well, I think a part of you will burn out.
It will.
I think a great visual is how charcoal ends up being made. It starts off as a piece of wood and all the kind of easy burnable fiber comes off first.
Yep.
The flame gets big, but then a part of it is going to, over slow heat and time, kind of whittle down, even though it's smothered, even though it's running out of oxygen, or maybe it's almost completely out of oxygen. But then what's left is this thing that will not go away. And so a part of you will burn out or burn off. And then something more sustainable will be left. And that's what happens.
If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, how do you balance believing in your vision with still being open to feedback, especially when everyone around you is questioning your direction?
You have to be okay with risk and failure. That's really it. I mean, and make allowance for their doubting too. People are just generally haters. That's it. They're going to doubt you. Now, they may doubt you because they think your idea is stupid, or they may doubt you because they don't want you to succeed because then you've done something that they can't do or they didn't think was possible. And so I try not to take into account the doubters or the haters, and I try not to hold it against them. I actually include them in my innovation and development process because I want to hear what the pessimists think and what the haters think. Because people love to point out how stupid something is that you're doing.
Yep.
They love to point out how much this is not going to work and how dumb you are for thinking about it. Sometimes they'll bring up some valid points that maybe you can solve for. But I use them as a tool. I don't really allow a lot of people to affect my opinion. I'm just very willing to test it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, they're right. Hooray for you. You get a gold star. And if I'm right, hooray for me. I get a gold star. And I'm okay with that process as a whole.
If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. You've built brands like Tessie Mae's and Tushy's, both of which were misunderstood at first. How do you stay grounded when your story or brand gets twisted by others?
Haters are gonna hate.
Mm-hmm.
And a great expression I've heard is haters only hate people that are in front of them. Nobody gives a shit about people behind them. So, all right. You think it's dumb? That's fine. You think I'm an idiot? I don't care. I stick to myself and do what I want to do. And I'm building a life for the people I care about. And that's that.
So do you think you have to have that mindset to be a successful entrepreneur? Because for a lot of people,
if you want your mental sanity, you do.
And for a lot of people, that's probably hard, right?
I have a very low social recognition score.
Okay, so what does that mean? Can you speak a little bit more on that?
There's a test. It's called the PRF test, and it tests kind of all of these core traits you're born with.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts it as a percentile on everybody that's ever taken the test before. And so if you're under 30 or over 70, those are extreme personality traits, kind of regardless of what number it is, over 70 or under 30. And it's extreme on either end, right? Like extreme high or extreme low. And one of them is social recognition. And I'm a 10 or something on social recognition. So I'm extremely, extremely low on that. And really what that boils down to is I don't seek validation from my peers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need people to tell me good job. I don't need to be recognized by people for my accomplishments or my achievements. I do it because I want to do it, and that's it. I think that's very helpful. Because a lot of time when I see people just crashing out or dealing with unbelievable amounts of anxiety, it all has to do with other people's opinions of them. You know.
If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it in one turn of pitch and toss, entrepreneurs romanticize risk. You've lived it. How do you decide when to bet big and when to walk away? This is a good question.
I have a filter now, a new business and a business partner filter.
Okay.
So I ground myself in a process of whether or not I want to do it. And if I decide at the end of that I'm doing it for the right reasons, I do it. I unfortunately have probably the highest risk tolerance of anyone will ever know or meet. So it's not great, my risk tolerance, in terms of like how extreme it is.
But it could be good.
It's good sometimes.
Yeah.
Other times it's like, yo, dog, what the hell are you doing? And I'm just willing
To
risk it.
Yep. What do they say? Risk it for the biscuit?
I didn't hear that, but sure. I'll risk it for the biscuit.
Yep. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone. There's a line between drive and self-destruction. Where is that line for you now?
Well, I have an unbelievable amount of balance as it applies to self-destruction now. That's just purely because of children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's purely because of failure. And so I manage a lot of the self-destruction side of it with the 4 things money can't buy: your health, your time, your soul, and your children's love. So I really don't do anything that can affect those. And I think that is very important. And that also comes back to the drive side of it. I don't sacrifice drive anymore for my family. So I could be way busier than I am. And I don't do that. I could be traveling way more than I am. And I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so my drive, and this probably comes back to the endurance side. When I was younger, I thought I had to make a certain amount of money or be successful by a certain time. Like, I got to be rich by 35. I got to be rich by 40. Or I'm a total failure. And then you get to 35, you're still young, spring chicken. You get to 40, you're still a spring chicken. And you look around and you go, I got to make this more sustainable. Because my kids are a ticking clock. They have a specific window of when they're with me. And they go to college, and they go off into the real world. I will still have the capacity to have drive and ambition. But if I've missed out on these moments with my babies, what? So I spend every waking minute grinding. I miss everything with my kids. I save every dollar. We don't go on vacations or spend it on, quality moments with each other. I get to 50, I can retire early, and they're all in college or they're married. And I missed everything. And every time they asked me, Dad, can you do this? And I said, I'm too busy. Sorry, I have a work trip. Sorry, I'm on, which I don't say, by the way. But let's just play this out. I'm now in my 50s. I'm now trying to get their attention to spend time with them because now I finally have the money and the time to do it. You know what they're going to say back?
We don't have the time.
We don't have the time. Sorry, Dad.
So when you're with the kids, they're
work.
getting 100% of you.
I became a dad young so that I could have the energy to be the dad that I wanted to be for them. Am I ambitious? Yes. Do I have drive? Yes. Am I willing to risk? Yes. Am I willing to not be there for my kids? No. Am I willing to fuck up their lives for money? No. So that's how I'm approaching business and life. I'm going to go for it, but with my priorities straight.
Mm-hmm. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. As your influence grows through your book, podcasts, and all the companies, how do you keep your common touch? And what keeps Greg Vedder real in a world of hype and all that?
If you want to pretend that you're something special and you want to act precious, then you're going to act precious and you're going to lose the common touch. I'm not really interested in that. I don't think you gain anything from being out of touch and precious and treating people like shit and not having an ear to the ground and understanding what is actually going on in the world. And I don't think that benefits your kids. So, some could say like, yeah, man, like this isn't really the common touch, the life you're living. Well, it's as close as I can do it. Someone emails me, I reply. Someone reaches out to me on LinkedIn and it's not an automated fucking message, I reply. People want to talk to me, I pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is what I wanted when I was starting. And no one fucking called me back. And no one replied to my emails. Because they were precious. Oh, I don't have time for this, dude. Granted, you got to protect your time. You can't just be answering 10,000 phone calls a day. But you need to be available.
And open to new opportunities, right? Because one LinkedIn message could lead to
something.
To something.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, you've had both massive wins and painful losses. How do you keep success from changing your character and failure from breaking it?
I realize success is nothing and failure is in the eye of the beholder, just like beauty. Successes are short and fleeting. The losses define you, define your character. I love the concept of and treat these two imposters just the same, because that is what they are. They're concepts. When you win, do you really win that much? I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. When you lose, what have you lost? Now, granted, I'm not talking about fucking health or your family or any of that shit. I'm talking about games, business objectives. Like, where is all of that in the grand scheme of things?
Perspective.
It's about perspective, and it's about endurance. Because in the grand scheme of your journey, if you end up winning the game and you get to put a win in that column and all of your losses came in the first quarter and the announcers are going, man, he had a really shitty first quarter, but let me tell you, the second, third, and fourth were the greatest ever played. What a huge win for this guy. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Is anyone gonna give a shit about the first quarter trips and falls and stumbles? Probably not. Not outside of the haters. So I do think it's just framing it properly.
If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, what does the unforgiving minute look like in your life right now?
Completion of the day. Like, if you can fill the unforgiving day with 60 seconds worth of distance run, so however many hours you're up, of a full effort, a full focused effort, then you'll be a man, my son. Because if you can do that every single day, everything is possible. Even if you stumble, even if you fall, the purpose of the day is to give the full use of your powers along lines of excellence and to endure. That is it. That is what we're here for. We are here to lead by example and to leave things better than when we found them. And the only way to do that is to show people what you're made of. What do you care about? What do you value? What are you willing to fight for? How hard are you willing to go? If you can do that, the world and everything that's in it is yours.
Mm-hmm. If one of your sons read this poem, what line would you want them to hold on to and take?
Well, they're so young, but it would be that right now it's just the beginning. I want them to read the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because they're young, haven't figured out how hard life is yet, and they're still trying to figure out people and lying and haters and all that good stuff. So, I mean, the poem needs to be read in its entirety, but I do think it's almost broken out as a full life cycle of life. So they're in the beginning phases of their lives. I think reading the beginning would be very helpful for them.
Closing question for today's podcast. Is there a specific line of the poem that hits harder now than it did when you were younger?
I almost always cry on the line of, and bend down and build them up with worn out tools, because that's what life is. I mean, like, you have these things and the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And are you gonna get down and rebuild them, not with new tools, but with these fucking worn out tools that you've used over and over and over again for the things you gave your life to broken? You don't understand it until you give your life to a project or a process or a dream and live it to its full cycle. And if it doesn't work, do you have the capacity to bend down and build it again, or some version of your life with worn out tools? You're probably older. You're probably sore. You're probably tired. And if you can get up after getting knocked down that 7th time, that's the key to life. This is Greg Vedder's podcast. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. This is the If poem by Rudyard Kipling. It's my favorite. It's how I ground myself when things are not going well, for a little bit of perspective. Talk to you soon.